Welcome to Wisdom Teachings with Dr. Amanda Love. Today's topic, Revealing Spirit. Revealing Spirit. Whether we are attuned to or aware of it, Spirit always is. Spirit does not come and go. It does not decide to be here in one moment and leave the next. There are no conditions in which Spirit does not exist. Spirit is unconditional in its presence and in its beingness. What does come and go is our focus on it. Maybe you've had the experience where one day you feel completely connected to Spirit, and then the next day not so much. You might wonder, why does this happen? Why does it seem that you can't stay in connection with Spirit all of the time? The first thing to recognize is that you can. It is entirely possible to live in a state of conscious awareness and connection with Spirit at all times. The second thing to know is that it's going to take some work, focus, and commitment to do so. It's likely not just going to happen. While we might have insights, epiphanies, and awakenings along the way, to live fully connected is not instantaneous for most people. What is Spirit? Spirit has a lot of words to describe it, yet it isn't defined by any of the words. The words simply help give the mind context. Spirit is what enlivens all forms. You could call that breath, energy, awareness, being, presence, aliveness, love, light, or heart, to name a few. It is that which is before any thought, feeling, or sensation arises, and it is what every thought, feeling, and sensation rests in. It is what every form is born out of, and that which penetrates every form. It is the root of all wakefulness. It is the stillness that guides all movement and motion. It is the source of all things. When you make contact with Spirit, you make contact with that one source that makes you, me, and everything come alive. While the workings of Spirit are mysterious, its presence is not. It is as close as your breath. It is as obvious as the fact that you are aware. Often, that which is closest and most obvious is overlooked. Our mind thinks that it's supposed to be something else, something more complex or occluded, something harder to see or know, something more special. But the fact that you are aware that you exist is evidence enough. Making Spirit less mysterious and more obvious will help dissolve the apparent disconnect you sometimes feel. Rather than thinking you need to find some magical or prescribed way back to Spirit, really, you can just notice the fact that you exist. Notice your beingness, and it will bring you back into conscious connection with Spirit. Now that you are clear on the non-mysterious nature of the presence of Spirit that always is, we come to the practical piece of devotion, commitment, and practice. If we don't practice noticing Spirit, then we won't notice it. Obvious, right? It is, yet most of us don't get this. We wonder why we feel disconnected when we haven't really made an everyday practice of noticing Spirit or noticing that we exist. I know this seems so simple, and it is, maybe too simple, that your mind gets bored and starts focusing on the things of life that are moving all about. Before you know it, you are totally absorbed in your activities, your to-do list, your thoughts, and all of the things you need to figure out in order to heal. While you are busy being focused on all the stuff, you are not paying attention to the fact that you exist, that Spirit is. Be honest. What percentage of the day do you simply pay attention to the fact that you be, that you are, that you are aware of being? 10%? 5%? 0%? It's no wonder we feel largely disconnected from spirit, and kind of a miracle that we ever feel connected at all, as little of our attention that we give to it. As you are evaluating yourself here, you may be surprised how little attention you give to noticing spirit, despite how many spiritual activities you do in a given day or week. Oddly enough, doing spiritual activities doesn't always bring us back into conscious connection with spirit. Often, we are just doing the activity such as meditation, yoga, prayer, etc., just to do it, but without really being devoted to reconnecting. Being devoted or committed takes energy. It requires that we elevate our state of being even when we feel low. It also requires that we know what to pay attention to. It's one thing to be mindful or aware of things. It's entirely another beast to be mindful of pure being minus the things. Again, while your mind might at first be bored by paying attention to spirit or just being, there is a magic that reveals itself the more that you do. Spirit is anything but boring. However, to our overstimulated, instantly gratified mind that thinks it can get to spirit by thinking or doing something, we might just perceive spirit as a vast, boring beingness that is devoid of all things. We might wonder when we can get up and just do something already so that we can get somewhere or figure something out. How can anything come out of this nothingness? You might think, can't I just try to get somewhere else instead? Can't I find a way to get to spirit rather than realize that I be spirit? The more you absorb your attention and awareness onto spirit, the greater conscious connection you create. You begin to lay down pathways to stably know and rest in connection with spirit. Remember, spirit always is. It's only you and the use of your will, devotion, and commitment that shifts. Nothing else does. Regardless of what appears on the screen of your life, you can learn to be consciously connected in spirit at all times if you so choose.